Welcome to the NAO show where we are breaking down week 2 of the NAO rookie draft. As you can see, we don't have Michael with us. He's going through a lot of changes in his life and trying to sell a house and move across the country. But we have the second best person in the league, Marky Mark. How you doing?
Doing great. I thought maybe you were talking about menopause there for a second when you said changes. But
He's
I didn't
going
think
through changes.
I didn't think he was quite that old. It's not time for menopause yet, is it? I'm doing well. Looking forward to breaking down the second and third rounds. I miss Mikey, but we'll do our best without him.
Yeah, best wishes to him. He'll be back next week, I'm sure, depending on how he's doing. But we'll get through it. We're going to be a crazy train, and there's no stopping us this week. All right. Let's get into it, Mark. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. All right. The second round in the NAO draft. First pick was
Trey Sermon.
Trey Sermon.
San Francisco.
I love the pick. I hate who it went to. I wish it could have gone to anybody other than him. I hate that he knew to pick him. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Sermon, I think it was a good pick there. I think he deserved a look at the end of the first round, maybe. And all because he went to San Francisco. I think I had him kind of I had him in tier 2 at the end of tier 2. I see him as a little bit inconsistent in his college profile. He tends to run a little bit too upright. You know, he's 6 foot tall, so he's a little bit taller than some of these running backs, and he tends to look tall when you're running, and that's not a good thing. You know, you want to get down and get those pads down. You know, they talk about pad level when they're
breaking out the coach speed.
Yeah. You know, the pad level's not good. So I had him in there as a kind of a, and he was starting to get a little bit of they were talking about him there as somebody kind of creeping up in that second tier, maybe a good second round, early third round guy in rookie drafts. And after he went to San Francisco, it was definitely that just bumped him up to number 4, in my opinion, especially since they traded up. They got him in the third round. That's good draft capital for a running back, especially, you know, when San Francisco gets guys 6th, 7th round, makes them stars, you know. So for them to trade up
games, no big deal.
Yeah. So he definitely jumped Gainwell and Carter in my rankings as the number 4, clear number 4 back. So yeah, where he got him there, good place, and good on him for getting him there, and the fact that he fell into the second round, because I think he deserved maybe some first round considerations.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on the first round consideration. I think if this draft didn't have Pitts going early in the first round and the Trevor Lawrence going in the 9th pick, if those picks fell to where they would normally fall, I think he would have been anywhere between 7 to 10 in the late first round, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. The second pick in the NAO rookie draft, round 2, we have a trade. Bum, bum, bum. All right. So the trade is with the Underdogs and the Republic of Jad. The Underdogs get the 2.02 pick, and the Republic gets Mike Williams, 2021 third round pick, and a 2022 fourth round pick. What do you think there, Mark? Oh, who gets drafted?
The pick was Rashad Bateman, a wide receiver, Baltimore. So yeah, let's talk.
Man, he fell, didn't he?
Let's talk about it along with the trade. Let's see what we think here. You want to give your thoughts first real quick, or you want me to start us out?
I think Bateman has the skills to be a had the skills to be a first round pick in the NAO, but there's a lot of skill players in front of him that had better landing spots, I think, which really hurt his capital in our draft. I think the sky's the limit still on him. I think he's a fantastic wide receiver. It just depending on if they're going to throw the ball, and maybe Baltimore needed one more wide receiver to actually step up and be able to be the 50-50 guy and be able to catch the ball over the middle, because Hollywood, everyone knows he's the sprinter down the sideline and get the deep ball, but maybe this will help their offense significantly, and that's why they drafted him so early.
So when you look at the trade and you see that Republic of Jad got Mike Williams, what did he get, a third rounder and a fourth rounder? I'm sorry, you just said it, and I don't remember.
Third rounder in 2021 and a fourth rounder in 2022.
Okay.
Third wide receiver 3 in Mike Williams.
So what do you think? What do you think about that? When you look at Bateman as opposed to Mike Williams and a couple of later round picks?
I would rather have the picks and go pick up Bateman.
Oh, okay.
As the Republic, I would have not done the trade at all and just picked Bateman and been fine with it, because I think the floor on Bateman is probably middle of the road for what Mike Williams will do for you this year. And next year, you don't know if he's going to be even salvageable for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But the ceiling on Bateman is pretty significant because he is a really good wide receiver.
Yeah, he had the tools. I mean, if all the measurables and analytics and everything you look at, to me, Bateman was the most complete receiver in the draft, even over the guy I picked, Jamar Chase. But the landing spot to me put him at the number 2. So I had it as Chase first and Bateman second. And guys will give me crap all day about it because of Waddle and Smith. And those guys are great. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I mean, as far as the toolbox is concerned, man, Bateman had the full toolbox. And to me was probably the most pro-ready guy. Even better separation than Jamar Chase, if you look at things like that. So I really like Bateman. I didn't bump him down too far. I learned my lesson. When AJ Brown went to Tennessee, I bumped him down in my rankings, and he's ended up being a stud despite the low volume passing offense, And so I'm going to say Bateman. I got him high, and him falling to that spot, I give the underdog some credit for trading up there and getting him. I think old Jad should have stayed put. I don't think he's going to be as happy with Williams and some future picks over Bateman. Bateman could be the guy that helps the passing attack. I'm still not high on Jackson as a passer, but this is the kind of guy that can make Jackson look good.
Yeah.
Just like some of the guys in LA made Goff look good. I think this is one of those guys that can make Jackson look good. So yeah, I wasn't real crazy about that trade for Jad there. I think he should have stayed put and taken Bateman. He was the pick right there. He probably was the pick back in the first round. He probably should have been there at the back end of that first round, I think.
So are you saying that Bateman has Cup upside?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, Bateman. I mean, I'm not trying to compare. I was using those as Goff's maybe not the best quarterback, but he had some great receivers that helped him out a lot. And I'm saying the same for Bateman with Jackson. No, Bateman's got all kinds of upside. I mean, Bateman, I think, can be really good in this league. I hate that he's going to be with a quarterback that's a little bit iffy. Maybe Jackson will take that leap like Josh Allen did last year.
Yeah.
And you see what Diggs did for Allen. Maybe that was, part of what made Allen better. Maybe this will be the thing that pushes Lamar Jackson up over the top as a good passer, not just a runner that, hits a guy every once in a while downfield. So,
fantastic athlete in general. Passing is still suspect in my opinion.
Yeah. No, he hasn't made that. He hasn't made the progression yet as a passer. he's still got some room to grow there. And it's getting late, it's starting to get late. The clock's ticking on him.
Mm-hmm.
But they also brought in what was it, Kylan Hill, or is it? I get Kylan and Killen and Tillin. I think it was Tillin Wallace that Tylan Wallace that went there. I call him Killen and Tillin. I always get them mixed up. Kylan Hill and Tylan Wallace. It was Wallace that they got it. And so along with Brown, I mean, they brought in some weapons, and they still got Andrews there, and they brought in they brought in the tight end Josh Oliver they got him from Jacksonville. They've got all kinds of good athletes, good weapons there. So it's going to be do or die time for Jackson, because he can't run the ball forever. He can't hold up forever. So,
well, I think time will only tell if that was a good pick. I think a lot of people would agree with you after Chase. The argument for the wide receiver 2 in any rookie draft was going to be not a very clear conversation between 3 different guys. You can make a strong argument for Waddle, Smith, and Bateman being wide receiver 2, depending on how you value and how you look at prospects moving into the NFL.
Yeah.
So, pick 3 in the NAO round 2 draft was traded. It was a trade between Swamp Donkey and the Republic. Swamp Donkey got Derrick Henry. The Republic got 2021 second round pick, a 2022 first round pick, a 2022 first round pick, and a 2021 third round pick. And the pick was
Elijah Moore, wide receiver, New York Jets.
So I've already said on this show one time, that Elijah Moore is going to be a fantastic wide receiver. I think he is going to be, I think if his landing spot works out how I think it should, with kind of using the Miami Dolphins as a blueprint of how a team kind of rebounds from crappy, awful, just god-awful coaching to an actual NFL coach. Hopefully the New York Jets will become relevant this year, fantasy-wise and NFL-wise, with the addition of Williams and Moore. And they got Mims too. He's no slouch. Last year he went real early in our draft too. So I love the upside in Moore.
Yeah, he's a little undersized, but if they play him in the slot, I think he's just about perfect. If they play him in the slot, I think that's going to be the case. But they're still kind of hanging on to Jameson Crowder. He could be a June 1 cut. I think he might be one of those that they save the money if they cut him a little bit later. And so he could be the starting slot receiver for these guys, and he'd be perfect right there. He's a good athlete, got some speed, and he had not on the best team at Mississippi, but really did a good job. Some of the tape I watched on him was you gotta like it, man. I think it was a good pick there. We haven't really talked about the trade. He got tons of picks and used this one here. I like the fact that he stayed put and got Elijah Moore here, because I do like him a lot. I think he's going to be, and he's the Jets guy. You talked about Mims. He was, he was last year's the outgoing regime. I think he's good. I think he can be a good outside receiver. I think Moore could be a great slot receiver, maybe even make Mims better. And so I like what they're doing moving forward, like you said. And I think that he made a good pick there.
Even though that Jad got the 2 first-round picks next year, I think he should have stuck at his spot, held Derrick Henry, and drafted both Bateman and Moore. I think both these guys would have benefited him significantly I don't think he would have had to move up to get more. I'm not sure if Humpty would have needed to draft more after getting Diggs in the first round. I think he would have been looking more of the best player on the board, and I'm not sure if more would have been what he was looking for after getting Diggs. Not saying that Moore is not the best player on the board at that point.
Yeah.
But I think moving forward, having Bateman and Moore and Derrick Henry on the same team, he would have been looking a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, he might have been able to stay put and got him with a normal pick there, but woulda, coulda, shoulda, I guess. But I'll give him some credit. I gave him a hard time for giving up on Bateman, on the chance to get Bateman, but Elijah Moore is not a bad pick there. But I agree with you. Maybe if he stays put and keeps Henry and gets a couple of young receivers for the rebuild, maybe he's looking a little better. And he's got more picks that he gave up. We're going to talk about later, so we're jumping ahead, but we'll get there in a minute. So maybe you can go on to our next pick here.
All right, the fourth pick in the second round for the NAO rookie draft was by Humpty Dumpty, and it was
Humpty Dumpty. We call him so many names now, man. It was Rondale Moore, wide receiver, Arizona.
So a little look behind the curtain in the pre-talk of the show. I let you know, Marky Mark, that I love Moore. Moore going to be a great wide receiver if the brain trust in Arizona is able to coach him.
Yeah.
It is well documented that Arizona cannot coach or bring up the skills of a wide receiver. They have to go out and buy them. D-Hop, AJ Green, just to name a few. Like if Moore can get some solid coaching and some solid reps, I think he'll turn into a fantastic pick for Humpty Dumpty fell off a wall. But I really think that the coaching is going to be suspect, to say the very least.
Yeah, I was telling you too that one podcast I listened to that the guys are out of Arizona. They're already talking about this could be Cliff Kingsbury's last season if they don't turn it around and maybe make a good playoff run at least this year. Doesn't seem to be working out. I mean, we were talking about that air raid offense, and everybody was so excited about it. And the only thing I was telling you, the only thing that they've done that they said they were going to do is run a lot of plays. So Arizona guys get a lot of volume. Volume is good for fantasy.
Yeah,
but it hasn't been that exciting. It has been, I've watched a few games of theirs, and besides that Seattle game where Seattle had such a bad defense, it's just not exciting to watch. I don't see what the fuss is all about. So maybe this will be something that helps them run a little more what they want to. I told you I've been puzzled. They got Andy Isabella there, and they don't put him on the outside to stretch the field. They put Christian Kirk out there. Christian Kirk belongs in the slot. Now they got Rondale. Rondale's a slot guy. So
probably a better slot guy than Kirk.
Yeah, no, I honestly think that Christian belongs in the slot, but I would, if I had Rondale Moore and Christian Kirk, then Rondale would probably be my starter in the slot.
Which makes you ask the question, what the heck is the brain trust in Arizona even thinking?
Yeah.
They have their slot guy already established in the offense, been there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Has shown that he can play the slot, and then you go out and draft another slot wide receiver.
Well, that's what I think they're going to keep Kirk on the outside, play him out of position, and Rondale's going to be he's going to be playing the slot. And he's good. He's a freak athlete. He's only 5'7", but he's 181 pounds. He's about the most solid guy you'll ever run into. And he's
or
just
run over you.
Yeah, I mean, he's really gifted as an athlete. He could be really good in that offense if they start doing what they said they were going to do a couple of years with this air raid thing. So I really like the pick. And he's not even 21 yet. He's, I guess, the only downside, he hasn't played for a while. He did have an injury, but I think yeah, the athlete that he is, he can come in there and really do some things. So I like the pick there. I think that was a good solid pick that he got there.
All right. We're going to move on to the 5th pick in the 2nd round of the NAO draft. And we have a trade between the Republic of Jad, surprising, and the guy that I will not name. He gets the 5th pick in the 2nd round. And then the Republic of Jad gets a backup running back in Darrell Henderson, a 4th round pick in the 2021 draft, and a 4th round pick in the 2022 draft. And the pick was
Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, Detroit Lions. Tell me what you think, buddy. Tell me what you think.
What are we thinking about right here? Like, all right, let's think about the potential of the Republic of Jad drafting St. Brown. All right, who is Jared Goff going to throw to? Who? Like, St. Brown is automatically going to be wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside. You know what I mean? There's like no one for him to even fight against for a wide receiver 2 position as a rookie. Yeah. Like, that is the most direct path to playing time. It's not even funny. I really think the guy that will not be named, like Voldemort, he kind of even looks like a little like Voldemort. Nose having. He traded a guy that was never going to see his starting lineup all year, ever, in 2 4th round picks for a guy that has starter upside, at least flex upside this year, wide receiver 2 next year. I like the pick for Voldemort, but what are you thinking, Jad? Come on, man. You've given up 3 solid wide receivers for picks, and not even really, besides the Derrick Henry move, 4th round picks, they're not going to do it for you, bub. You got to be really good at Dynasty to be able to hit on a 4th round pick. And only the underdogs have a freaking star shining out their ass when they freaking pick a running back in the 5th round last year. I'm just saying, it doesn't happen very often. All right. Your turn.
Rant over. But it could start up at any time. Could start back up. Yeah, Jad was in rebuild mode, and Bateman and St. Brown would have been good players towards that end. And to get Darrell Henderson there, you're getting a handcuff and a couple of 4th rounders for, like you say, a guy that could be the best receiver on their squad. I do like Quintez Cephas. I'm hoping that he makes a 2nd year break out a little bit. But again, he's not their guy. He's from the old regime. Mm-hmm. And Amon St. Brown is their guy. He's been getting some comps to Robert Woods, and we know that Goff did okay with Robert Woods. Amon-Ra St. Brown is probably one of the better route runners coming in, and that's very important in the NFL because a lot of these guys come in not ready in the route running department. This guy's already there. He's definitely polished as a route runner, and I think he can be. If he gets some chemistry going with Goff, he could be their top receiver, like you say. I think Hawkinson's going to be good there. And like I say, Cephas maybe, but Amon-Ra St. Brown looks like a little bit of a sure bet kind of thing. And with the new regime.
Player is.
Yeah. So disappointed that Jad gave up picks that led to Bateman and Amon-Ra St. Brown for probably two of the better rosters out there. I could be honest. Sorry, I know you don't like to hear that in Voldemort's case, but that guy did a pretty good job there getting St. Brown with that pick. I like what he did there. I like what he did, and I don't like the trade for Jad. You know, um,
No.
not a handcuff. Don't get something better for that.
If you're gonna, never mind.
Yeah, I
All
mean,
right.
Rant starting again.
The sixth pick in the NAO draft, round
We're just-
2, the
we're just
underdog
moving.
pick.
We're just moving on to the sixth pick. All right, that would be Kenneth Gainwell, running back, Philadelphia.
All right, Marky Mark. I got the question.
All right.
NAO is dying to know. What's this do to your Sanders stock?
Well, I won't say it doesn't hurt him. I don't think it kills the stock. I think the stock has still got some value, but I think that he'll definitely eat into any receiving upside that Sanders may have had. Sanders was pretty horrible last year in the receiving game, and I think that the Gainwell pick was definitely trying to address that. I think they know they got a good athlete, good running back in Sanders, but they may not have the best receiving back in Sanders. So Gainwell comes in as somebody that could, if he had WR by his name, he'd be somebody that could go high, just as high as he could with RB by his name, because he's definitely a good receiver, probably one of the better receiving backs in this class, if not the best one. So yeah, I'm not too worried about him making Sanders irrelevant or taking over that spot, but he definitely could get Sanders off the field on third downs, which is definitely gonna hurt the stock. Can't say that it's not gonna hurt him there. So,
Do you think there is a Chubb Hunt connection building up in Philadelphia where you could start either of these running backs and have solid fantasy output?
I don't know about that. We'll have to see what he does in the running game. Gainwell definitely was good in the running game at Memphis. He actually kept Gibson off the field when he was there running the ball.
We don't speak ill of Gibson in this league.
Yeah. So he definitely has he's shown the ability. I don't know that that's what they drafted him for, though. I think he probably comes in as more of a third down back and receiving back than a workhorse kind of guy. And you talked about the Chubb and Hunt. He could be a starting running back on many teams. He's a 3-down guy. I don't know that Gainwell is there yet. I don't know if that's what they drafted him for. I almost have a feeling that they drafted him more as a receiving back.
I actually think this hurts Sanders more than you are letting on, because I think you're right in the fact that they drafted him as a third down back, but I think they're trying to bank on the upside. I think they're trying to create what they are doing in Cleveland, and they've seen what it did for an above average quarterback in Baker Mayfield. A solid run game has really increased his numbers significantly. When Chubb and Hunt are able to do what they do out of the backfield, it opens up that play action pass, and that is exactly what Baker Mayfield is able to do. If they go into Philadelphia and Hurts is able to do this RPO and have two solid backs that could literally do anything that they wanted to, that is going to make him significantly better. Rhaegar significantly better. Smith significantly better. I think there is a lot of planning making this trade pick, because I think they're going to try to go to a 2-down. You don't know who we're going to play, and you don't know what they're going to do. I think off the bat, they are going to put Gainwell in on the third down, passing downs, because he is a better receiver. But if he turns out to be a very good runner, Sanders is still good at running. They're going to switch them in left and right, put them both on the field, and you're going to have to account for them. And then that puts Rhaegar and Smith on a better scenario.
Well, I think we'll see him on the field at the same time a lot, I think, because Gainwell, you can line him up in the slot as a receiver. You can actually put him out there outside. He can be the X. Uh, the guy can run routes and catch the ball and does things after the catch. So they drafted him in the 5th round. So I feel like if he was going to be a true threat to Sanders, he would have been drafted a little bit earlier. He went in the 5th round, so I really think he's going to be more of a weapon, offensive weapon kind of guy, and maybe looking at receiving upside more. I could be wrong, and I'm not trying to um, talk myself off the ledge and say, if I thought he was a true threat to Sanders, I'd say so. I did trade him in my other league, but again, I've told you I've been trying to diversify the portfolio a little bit and not have too many guys in both leagues. So I did trade Sanders in that league, but I got Kyle Pitts out of it. So.
Oh, la-di-da. Moving on.
Wanted Pitts in one league. So
the 7th pick in the 2nd round of the NAO draft was by the Baltimore, and he drafted
Kadarius Toney, wide receiver, New York Giants.
So let me tell you about this pick.
Tell me about this pick.
I don't think this pick was as good as his first pick in the 2nd round. I think Toney is a shot in the dark. I mean,
okay.
Slayton is there. He has good skills. He's been hit or miss. I'll give you that. They just drafted Golladay, which is obviously the clear-cut wide receiver 1. Yes, I'm biased. I have him on my team. He better be wide receiver 1. Toney could turn into something. I think he is what Gabriel Davis is of last year. He's going to be on a really good offense, I think. I think Daniel Jones makes a leap forward, having all of his weapons back.
Pretty bold to call the Giants a good offense, I got to tell you. But you do you. Tell me.
I'm a little biased. I will say that. I think he's going to be the Gabriel Davis of this draft. I think he's going to be fantastic upside. I think he's a good stash guy for maybe next year. Or maybe he turns out to be the new Slayton and takes over and he is the wide receiver 3. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, to me, he's another slot guy, and they got Shepard, who's probably not going. He's not going to go away. I mean, I don't think he comes in and just takes over for Shepard. Now, maybe,
right,
like you say, down the line, maybe so. But and of course, Shepard has had injury problems, so there is that to think about. Tony's interesting here. I wouldn't have taken him in the 2nd round if I was picking in that area. I would have, if I had a pick at the 2nd round there, it would have been Toney. I don't think I would have been looking in the 3rd round for Toney. But he's recently converted from quarterback to wide receiver. Our boy Ian is seeing him play a lot, and he might know a little bit more than we do. Definitely a good athlete, a lot of speed. But I kind of feel like he's a gadget guy. I didn't like the pick for the Giants really, and therefore I'm not real high on the pick for Ian either. I don't know. I feel like they could have done better with their pick there. The Giants could have, but picking them that as high as they did, then maybe they're going to try to get him involved. Maybe they're going to try to use him. But I want to see him. I see Toney. I think of Tavon Austin, maybe Percy Harvin, somebody who's great athlete, great speed, but maybe doesn't translate to great fantasy production.
Yeah, I think the Giants in general in the 1st round got sniped a couple times with defense. I think they were looking defense for their 1st round pick. And then when everybody in front of them took the CBs and the linebackers, they just kind of like, all right, we'll just take the best player on our board, I guess. And that was Toney. But I agree with you. I didn't like the pick for the Giants at all.
Yeah, they traded back, and I like the fact that they finally did that. But then, I don't think Toney, to me, was not a 1st round draft kind of guy. That's just my opinion, though.
All right, we're going to move on to the 8th pick in the NAO draft, round 2. And 2-a-time drafts.
Trey Lance, quarterback, San Francisco.
I like the pick. I like the pick for 2-a-time. I like the pick where it's at. I think everybody knew that Trey Lance was going to go in the first round, as we said last week. Lawrence in the first round. Trey Lance going in the second round. I think that was a good pick. He's already 2-a-time already picked up pretty much his whole depth at wide receiver earlier in the round when Jad just starts giving away picks. But Trey Lance, San Francisco, perfect landing spot. I can't say anything bad about the pick.
No, it was, you got Ian got Sermon and he got Amon-Ra St. Brown. So he kind of had the luxury here to take a flyer on what could be a good Konami code kind of guy. Could be a good rushing upside kind of guy. So I like the fact that he picked him here. He had, like I said, he had the luxury. If I didn't have multiple picks in the second round, I probably wouldn't have been looking at him here. Mm-hmm. But he had the luxury of doing that. So he comes away with a, what I thought was the number 4 running back. Amon-Ra St. Brown, who could be the best receiver on a bad team. Might be passing a lot because they're behind a lot. And then he gets Trey Lance, who he could stash away and maybe ends up being akin to a Kyler Murray or a Josh Allen down the line. Didn't cost him much when he already had a couple of good guys there. So I do like the pick for Steele. I might not have liked it for somebody just picking one guy in the second round, but I do like to pick for Steele here.
And there was a call for it on his team. He has Aaron Rodgers from the trade that we will not bring up.
Trade.
Yes.
No, that wasn't the trade, but that was a trade.
That was a trade that we will not bring up.
Made you tilt and rant, which we love.
All right. That trade was ridiculous.
Not over it. Still not over it. Still
too. Cam Newton and Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Trey Lance adding him, I think it was a smart move, and he needed to kind of shore up that back spot. I mean, when Aaron Rodgers gets not drafted, but traded to Denver, we'll see where he lays. But I think Trey Lance was a good pick for him.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of quarterbacks, we're going to move to the 9th pick of the second round of the NAO draft, and Goofy Jace drafts
Justin Fields, quarterback, Chicago.
Mark, I know my memory's not great, and sometimes I have to ask to be reminded.
Okay.
But who did Goofy Jace draft in the first round?
Oh, that would be Trevor Lawrence, quarterback, Jacksonville.
He plays quarterback too? Wait. All right. Commissioner, real talk.
Okay.
Can we go to a super flex league?
Can we go to a super flex league?
No. Did we go to
did we go to a super flex league? No, we did not.
Oh, okay. So why the hell are we drafting 2 quarterbacks in the first round and the second round? What? All right. That's what I think of that pick.
Yeah. I ran it into the ground saying we're in a league that starts 2 running backs and you got to have running back depth. We're not in a league that starts 2 quarterbacks and you got to have quarterback depth in this league.
Yeah.
So I really was kind of scratching my head too when you take Trevor Lawrence in the first, and he picked him in a good spot there. I'm not crazy about picking a quarterback in a 1 quarterback league in the first round, but I'm okay with him with Trevor Lawrence. But Justin Fields there just did not seem to make a whole lot of sense to me. I definitely would have been looking at somebody else there. Let's just look at the draft board. I mean, you getting a little bit thin there, but there's some guys that went after that I might have picked before that. So yeah, Justin Fields, I wasn't crazy about the pick. They traded up for him. It looks like they're going to make him their future quarterback. I like Fields all right. I'm not crazy about him at that pick in the second round.
Yeah, I agree with you. At that pick in the second round, after picking the best quarterback in the draft, share cut, number one, gonna start. He's been compared. This is Lawrence, by the way. He's been compared to some fantastic quarterbacks that have played in this league. Why? I just don't know why. You literally could have picked anybody at any other position. We would have understood. You know what I mean? Like, why two quarterbacks? But
yeah, he's got Russell Wilson on his roster. He's got Matt Ryan, who's still got a couple good years left in him, I'm sure. You got Trevor Lawrence as your quarterback of the future. Yeah, it seemed like he could have gone a position player there. If you look at his roster, he's a little bit thin at receiver. I might have gone the guy who went first in the first pick of the third round was Amari Rogers. I might have gone Amari Rogers. I think that would have been a better pick there.
All right, so he picks Fields in the 9th. Guess what? He has a pick, the 10th pick in the second round. Let's go to the board and see what he picks. So with the 10th pick in the second round in the NAO draft, Goofy Jace drafts
Pat Freiermuth, tight end, Pittsburgh.
Tight end. All right. Okay, so I like the tight end in Pittsburgh. Ebram, average player. It was a pretty good start for me at tight end. He started like the second half of the season for me at tight end. He was good for a touchdown and a couple catches. If this guy turns out to be anywhere better than him, he will definitely see the football early, which is saying a lot for a tight end. Usually you got to wait a couple of years for them to turn out to be what they are going to be, unless their name is Kittle. But he had another chance to get a position player that is going to start now, wide receiver or even like RB2 upside, like kind of guy that you draft in the third round, but he goes tight end. Like, I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna give Goofy a break on this one. I don't think it was a bad pick. I don't think it was a bad place to pick him. And I think we would have been talking about him a lot more if there wasn't a Kyle Pitts in this draft.
I agree with that.
He's a really good blocking tight end. He's got good size, tough guy. He's a Pittsburgh kind of guy.
Remind me how many points you get for blocking somebody.
Well, okay. Blocking gets you on the field. That's the point there. So, a lot of tight ends that are great upside guys like a Brevin Jordan, okay? Brevin Jordan, oh, wow, great athlete. He's not the great blocker. He's not going to get on the field a lot until he learns how to block. So a guy like Freiermuth, there's no issue there. He can block. He's going to be on the field. And so I'm good with that pick there. I probably would have gone receiver, tight end there if I was Goofy. I think that would have been the better play than going Fields and Freiermuth. But I'll give him some credit for Freiermuth at that pick. I think that's a good place to pick him. And he's, what's he got? Gronk and I don't know who else I'm going off the top of my head here, but he could use a good young tight end, and that was not a bad place to pick Freiermuth at all, I don't think. So.
Yeah, he's got Gronkowski, which his days are numbered.
Yeah.
I understand the pick, and I see where he was coming from with the pick. It's just like the previous pick just makes me go, all right, now I feel after drafting two quarterbacks, you are forcing yourself into a position where you need to draft position player.
Yeah.
You need to. Like, you don't have the luxury of going out and getting a tight end in the second round.
I'll give you that.
So he's good, and he could go early third round, late second round. You as a team does not have the luxury of going out and getting him.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give you that. Based on the Fields pick, maybe he should have gone for a position, wide receiver there. I don't, running back. I don't think he could have gotten much better running back there, but I think
Yeah.
wide receiver maybe he could have. But it's all based on picking Fields before him, and so I'm with you there. I'm with you there. So I don't mind the Freiermuth pick. I think it would have been a better pick with going with a position player rather than Fields. Definitely. So I'll give you that. Yeah.
All right, so we're done with the second round. We're gonna hit a couple spots on the third round, and then next week we are going to jump into our rankings shows. We have 3 shows. We're gonna break down the rankings, and we're gonna give our own rankings, which is gonna be exciting.
Well, we're not giving our opinion ranking.
No, not our opinion rankings.
Yeah.
We're going to take 3 different websites, find their
We
rankings.
got 3 tools, plug in the league and see what they say. And we'll do like an ECR kind of thing.
Yes.
At the end of it all. We're not giving our opinions on the rankings because
no, we're not.
That's a lesson learned. If you don't learn from history, you're bound to repeat it, right? So we're not going to repeat that history.
I want people to trade players to me, please.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, let's hit a few highlights.
First one you want to do in the third round?
Well,
let's talk about them.
Yeah, I really love the Amari Rogers pick there by our buddy Aaron, run it back. That's the guy that I think Goofy probably should have been going for over Justin Fields. And I think Rodgers is a little bit of an under the radar guy that could be really good. Everybody's been looking for Green Bay to get a big name receiver. And I think maybe some people look at Rodgers and say, oh, geez, they finally get a receiver and it's not that, not a big name, but I really think that he can be good there. I think that
and it's going to really suck when Aaron Rodgers gets traded to Denver, and they got a sophomore quarterback and Love throwing to him. It's going to really kill his
poor Aaron's got a lot invested in Rodgers.
Oh, who else does he have?
Yeah. He made that big trade for Devontae Adams. And now he's got the other A Rodgers on his team. But if Aaron Rodgers goes, it may not be too pretty for him. But I like Amari Rogers. I was kind of looking at him as a sleeper. He's a guy I was definitely looking for in the third round. Not surprised to see him go first pick of the third round. And that's a good spot to get him. I think if they get things, if they kiss and make up in Green Bay,
which won't happen. Continue.
I don't know. It's hard to say. It's a weird situation, but I think Rodgers can emerge there as a good. You have to see if you can get some chemistry going there, of course. But I like him better than Lazard. I like him better than the Boomer Bust in. Oh gosh, now I'm blanking on his name. There's the other St. Brown there. Dang. Can't think of the name of the guy that either.
Equanimous.
No, yeah, Equanimous. I'm not thinking of him. It's the other guy. Have to look it up.
His first name has like 16 letters. If you don't believe me, go look it up. It does.
Equanimous. Yeah, I hate that I'm blanking on him. I got to look him up now. Doesn't make for good podcast, but I'm going to look him up anyway. But yeah, I like him better than Lazard. I think he can definitely get up over Lazard. And
Lazard is on the out. I think if Aaron Rodgers has a solid wide receiver too behind Adams, he's gonna try to create a bunch of chemistry. I actually thought he brought up the caliber of wide receiver of the wide receivers that he had other than Adams, because Adams, fantastic wide receiver. He does not need anyone to help him. Just get the ball within the same zip code and this guy's going to catch the freaking football. But everybody else, I think Aaron Rodgers made them better. And I think if Rodgers, the new Rodgers, the wide receiver, comes in and has a halfway decent training camp comes out in OTAs and starts catching the football and is dependable, and Aaron Rodgers can actually depend on him to catch the ball when he wants to throw the ball to him,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be very, very good for the Rodgers pick at 3-1 in the NAO rookie draft.
Yeah. Well, the other guy I was trying to think of is Valdez-Scantling, and I'm sure there was 3 or 4 of them going, Valdez-Scantling, Valdez-Scantling. Because I'm like that too. When I'm listening to a podcast and someone blanks, I'm always right there sharp. I remember it, but it's harder when you're actually the one doing the talking. So I think he could be more consistent than Valdez-Scantling. And Rodgers was really good at the Senior Bowl. And the thing that stuck out to me was a lot of these top, cornerbacks and safeties that were there said that he was the toughest guy to cover. So that's saying a lot when the guys that you're competing against say that you're the best one. So he had a really good Senior Bowl, and I just love him going to Green Bay. I really hope Rodgers stays and we get to see that connection. And I think Aaron is probably seconding that emotion.
I hope he goes to Denver just so I can listen to Aaron cry. All
probably,
right, moving on. The one I want to bring up is actually Marky Mark's pick. Here at 5. Mr. Mitchell, Elijah Mitchell, going to San Francisco, running back. Just to let you all know, I was hoping this guy I hope everybody else was completely stupid and let this guy drop to me at 4. And I was going to let all of you know that y'all messed up and that I got to get him. But Mark had to come in, trade up to get into the 3rd round, and pick the guy I wanted. Tell me about your pick there, Marky Mark.
Yeah, I loved him going to San Francisco. I had him as a sleeper guy. Targeting him. I was really earlier on. I was targeting him kind of 4th round. I thought maybe he'd be a good 4th round sleeper pick, and then I started seeing the consensus on him was jumping up because he's really fast. Not much of a receiving back. Actually played with some other guys that were pretty decent and competed for touches, but I with the speed, decent size, he was on my radar as a sleeper in the late rounds.
I think you're burying the lead in the fact that he was this guy that was kind of on the fringes, but as soon as he got drafted by San Francisco, his stock went up. You can never argue with that.
Yeah, he's our typical
from mid 4th round guy to I totally agree with him going middle of the 5th, in the middle of the 3rd round. I totally agree with it.
Yeah. No, I didn't think he'd make it to the 4th round. I was a guy I was thinking about trading up for, and our buddy Jad was sitting there again with 3 picks, and I'm like, hey man, trade me your pick. I was looking at him as early as the 2nd pick there in that round,
in the 3rd round.
Yeah. But Jad kept picking. So I was like, he finally said, I'll give you my last pick, and I was looking at him or Josh Palmer actually as 2 guys that I would have picked there. So I went ahead and made the trade. He had the nerve to say, who are you looking at? I'm like, I can tell you who I'm looking at.
No one. I'm actually looking at no one.
Who are you looking at? I'm looking at the pick. Give me the pick, damn it. Finally got it. And I was glad to get him there. He's kind of their typical San Francisco pick. 6th round, I think it was, they picked him. And a guy that they pick late and make a star out of just because they have a good system,
Yep.
I look at Mostert and Wilson as guys who are towards the end of their careers. They have the injury. Yeah, they had the injury history. So if he can get a spot, if he can stay on that roster, I feel like he may not be this year, but maybe next year. He's a guy that can pop up there and be something. So I was glad to get him there.
Speaking of Josh Palmer, let's move to the end of the 3rd round where Silly Dilly drafts a hell of a pick. 10th pick in the 3rd round, Josh Palmer to the Chargers. I saw this come up on the board, Mark, and I was like, well, Silly Dilly did it. I said he's going to have a fantastic draft. This guy comes out and drafts some solid guys. I think Josh Palmer has a clear-cut path to playing time. Mike Williams, he's old. Keenan Allen, great wide receiver. He's getting older. I think Josh Palmer with Herbie fully loaded. Come on. Herbert's going to go, all right, I'm young. You're young. We're going to be in this league for a long time. Let's get it going right now because my production is going to be dependent on people catching the football. And if you and I can link up right now, Herbie fully loaded, stock up. Josh Palmer, stock way up because he's on the I love the pick. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. He is another under the radar guy for me that wasn't on a great team. Those Tennessee balls are pretty bad. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if we have any Tennessee fans. I hope I'm not offending anybody.
Who would be a fan of that team?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
Never mind.
Just
back to the
show. bad team, So this guy is kind of under the radar, but I like him there. You look at, like you say, Williams might not be there next year. Keenan Allen's getting on up there. They really don't have a clear-cut number two. They got Jalen Guyton and Tyron Johnson there, but this is their guy. This is a guy that they drafted and brought in and are obviously high on. And I think he went in the third round.
Had a bigger role in the offense. We would have seen that last year. I think he would have been more got more targets in the receiving game than
he got a good deal of targets, and but he's still an undrafted free agent. Yeah, and Palmer went third round, pick 13. So he's got some good draft capital over an undrafted free agent like Guyton, who I like and seem to have a rapport going with Herbert. But Palmer being their guy and being drafted that high could definitely emerge as a clear number two behind Keenan Allen. Maybe Williams isn't there next year, and he kind of pops up there. So I like him. I don't know if it's going to be this season, but I definitely like. And I told you I was looking at him too. If Elijah Mitchell wasn't there, Palmer was my next pick. And he's somebody that I just want to get on my taxi squad and let him marinate and see what happens. So I love the pick for Dilly.
Chris Godwin upside.
Wow, that's big. I mean, that's talking about Ohio State pedigree there, which is they put out some good receivers. But Palmer, I think again is probably maybe on a better team than that horrible Tennessee. Well, let me not say that because I don't want to offend anybody, but
horrible. Go ahead, continue.
You're going to see some comments on this tomorrow, but if he'd have been on a better team, he might have been a little bit more on people's radar. Maybe a higher candidate there. Higher.
If you played on a real SEC football team that actually builds players for the NFL and not for whatever they do in Tennessee, all right, I digress.
Yeah. But looking down through the third round, I mean, those were our three favorite picks, definitely. Zach Wilson, I'm still not sold on him, but probably not a bad place to get him in the third round. Mac Jones, I think he could do a little something. That was a perfect pick there in the third round.
I think you're higher on Mac Jones than I am.
Yeah. We'll see. I just think he's got the football intelligence that will overcome some of the athletic, some of the lack of athletic ability there. I think it was a good place to get him. It wasn't a bad place at all to get him in the third round there. Ramondre Stevens, I think, is Stevenson. Sorry. Patriots, we talked about Patriots running backs, flip a coin to see who's going to be the best on any given week. He's a big guy, so he could be a goal line guy. If they move on from Sony Michel, maybe he bumps up. But at this point, he's probably just a kind of a flyer to see what happens in the next couple of years.
If he's a goal line guy, that entails the offense being good enough to get to the goal line. All right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that does not help him at all.
Well, yeah, we'll see. He kind of, to me, sort of like LeGarrette Blount a couple of years ago. He might be a goal line guy that could have some kind of relevance, but he's going to be a situational guy, I think.
Yeah.
Shi Smith, he was getting some buzz. He went to Carolina. He's out of South Carolina. He was getting a little bit of buzz. I don't know. I'm not really high on him, but we'll have to see what happens with him there in Carolina. Eskridge, I liked going to Seattle. He's probably going to take Lockett's place. I don't think it'll be this year, but he may be relevant in the next year or two.
Yeah, but he's gonna have to have the Tyler Lockett output, where you had to literally spin the dial on which game you needed to play Tyler Lockett.
Right.
70 points that one game, and then he was going to be irrelevant for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's still a run-heavy offense, so it just, he seems like a guy that maybe is gonna be, Lockett. Maybe they move on from, and he kind of moves into that role eventually. I like him. I think he could be good. I like his athletic profile, and I think he could be good. He's probably sitting a little while behind some guys. Chuba Hubbard was, probably not a bad flyer at that point. If he can get back to the form he had a couple of years ago, he certainly fell off last year. Definitely going to be behind CMC this year. Maybe not a bad guy to stash. See what happens with him. What do you think about Hubbard there?
I love having a handcuff for CMC. The last 2 years, he's been having issues. I really hope for him, because I think he's a fantastic person, let alone good football player. And I say good, but he's by far the most athletic football player to play football right now. Having the handcuff of him always seems to work out for the owner's potential. I mean, last year, Mike Davis was a solid start in a flex spot every week with CMC being out.
Yeah. He could be, if he can get back to that dynamic output that he had a couple of years ago, then they might have something there. Maybe he could jump up to the number 2 there. Then we got Goofy picking Kylan Hill.
Another Green Bay Packers running back. He wants the whole fucking depth chart right here.
He loves him some Green Bay running backs, doesn't he?
Man, if he's playing Green Bay and they run the ball, Goofy Jace wants him on the team.
So he had Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, and he got Dillon last year in the draft, AJ Dillon, and I think he got Dexter Williams too, didn't he? I think he's on his practice squad still. Now Jamal Williams moved on, so he had to go and get Kylan Hill. So it's probably not a horrible pick. I mean, I like his upside, but he's definitely in a committee and behind some guys for sure, Yeah,
a lot of stuff needs to happen for him to see the playing field.
Yeah, not a bad place to pick him there. I think that's a good spot to get him. So I think the value was okay, but he's probably not going to do much right away. So, but he's got them Green Bay running backs.
Man, does he ever?
Anybody wants a Green Bay running back?
He can play. He can put a quarterback in the flex spot, right? Oh wait, he can't. Never mind.
We're not super flex yet. Now
we're never going to be super flex.
Once Deshaun gets over his legal battles, we may think about that. That would be
exactly. Wouldn't that be some home cooking right there?
Yeah, I think I'll tell you what though, we did in our family league, we have the 2 quarterback, we have the super flex. It's a fun format. It's definitely a fun format. It's gaining some steam.
The Wild West of fantasy football.
Yeah, it's gaining some steam. It's not a bad format at all. So I wouldn't be opposed to it. But if we did that, it wouldn't be we change in 1 year. It would be a transition. So guys would have a chance to do like Goofy did this year. Maybe Goofy was getting ahead of the curve. he drafted a couple of quarterbacks, anticipating that we might go to a super flex,
Mike's listening to this and he's going, yeah, let's go to Superflex. I got Herbert and the Patty Mahomes.
Yeah, he'd be
No,
happy
you're
with
not
that,
going
too.
to Superflex. I will vote against that every time I have the option to.
Yeah. If we did that, it would be a transition period. It wouldn't be right away. It'd give everybody a chance to start drafting a few guys. So, we'll stick with what we got. I think it's working. I like it. Superflex is fun, but we won't talk about that for right now.
Well, that's going to be our show for this week. Tune in next week where we break down the 10 through 6 slots on 3 different tools that ranks the whole league as a whole. And Mike might be back, so he's always worth coming back to. And one last thing, Ian, you suck. Won't ever change.